Hello and welcome back to the final round of the 2025 Brewster Ridge Open, driven by Innova. This great event is brought to you by Disc Golf Vermont and Smugglers Notch. I'm Emily Dale, joined by Nathan Johnson.
Yeah, final round of this tournament. It's been some really fun coverage to watch. We're up here at Smugglers Notch at the Fox Run and Brewster Ridge courses. Paul Krans has built himself a 7-stroke cushion going into this third and final round. He'll have Jesse Longenecker, Axel, Olson, and Whit Stephenson on his tail, as well as everybody else you see here in the top 10 looking to make some moves here and finish strong in this year's event.
Yeah, we saw a lot of crazy scores out there in round one over here at this course, so I would be surprised if we didn't see that again today.
Yeah, Fox Run, always a challenging track. Taking a look here at hole one, a 600-foot par 4. Players are looking to throw their tee shots anywhere in this beautiful grassy fairway to set up a left to right moving shot into the green. You have the whole hole surrounded by out of bounds, so you're going to want to stay in the middle.
All right, welcome to the final round of the 2025 Brewster Ridge Open here at Smugglers Notch. First on the tee, our current leader at 15 under par from Dudley, Mass, representing MVP, Paul Krans. Yeah.
We got 2 AM World Champs and 1 Collegiate National Champion.
Sheesh.
So count that as 3 major winners on the card today, so it should be a real treat to watch. Paul Krans going first. This one looks a little bit straight, and he's actually going to find that out of bounds long. Not the start he was looking for.
Next on the tee, he's from Mercer Island, Washington. He's 8 under par. He represents Dynamic Discs. Axel, Olson.
First time I'm getting to see Axel play. I don't think I've seen him on coverage yet, so excited to see what he has to bring to the table. He had a hot round over at Brewster.
Yeah, I think I've played with him maybe once on a random Pro Tour stop. Super talented kid, 2023 AM World Champ, so should be fun to watch.
Also at 8 under par, he's from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, representing Prodigy, Jesse Longenecker.
The Lancaster local, Jesse Longenecker. Getting to watch him for the second time. He was on our feature card coverage for round 1 here at Fox Run. Didn't quite put the round he was looking for together on this course, so we'll have an opportunity to improve on it here. This one's leaking a little left, and it's got to get down.
He'll be over there behind the tree, but in the fairway and have an open look at the basket.
Rounding out our lead card today at 7 under par, he's representing Smugglers Notch Disc Golf Center, and he's from Wilmington, North Carolina, Whit Stephenson.
If you're representing Smugglers Notch Disc Golf Center, you know he's about to bring some fire here today.
Yeah, gotta be familiar with the course. That's a nice looking shot for Whit.
Good luck, guys. Have fun.
Finds the fairway to get started. So right off the bat, all 3 of our chasers are looking to take a stroke on Paul, but Axel catches that one tree to miss there on his upshot.
Great shot there for what he had to work with. He'll still have a lot of meat on the bones to try to save a par.
Yeah, but not a bad result. From where Paul went out of bounds, it's almost impossible to save it from there. Nice shot from Whit to put himself up inside the circle. He'll have a short birdie putt. If these guys are going to have any chance, they're going to have to put some pressure on early to just make Paul feel that pressure. Otherwise, with how he's been playing so far, he's just been able to kind of cruise stress-free through these rounds. Jesse throws a nice shot of his own to give himself a birdie look.
It's interesting ground play there. It had rained pretty hard earlier in the morning, but the course stayed in pretty good condition, not too muddy for these guys. Good bid for a par save, and Paul will have to settle for a bogey, which we didn't see too many mistakes from him in rounds 1 and 2, so hopefully that doesn't get in his head.
Yeah, played a lot of clean golf, gave himself a lot of outside birdie putts, and his circle 2 putting was super consistent throughout the first 2 rounds. So that gave him just enough opportunities to score to build this lead. But so far, just an early mistake from him, and Jesse with an early birdie putt and a chance to take 2 strokes does not connect.
Great short birdie there for Whit. I love that koozie on the other side. It looks like an eye test, and it's for an eye care company.
Perfect.
Love it.
Perfect. We need some more creative branding like that in disc golf. Heading into hole 2, we've got a 270-foot par 3, very narrow gap. Probably the smallest gap you're going to have to hit on the entire Fox Run course. Most players are just going to throw a nice smooth putter or mid-range, hopefully scuttle something up, if you will, inside the circle.
You're learning well.
I try to adjust, make some mid-tournament adjustments for my fellow commentator. Whit going to have the box first. That is an early release, and it's going to be a tough scramble from over there in the rough.
Jesse looking to float something down the middle, gets caught up partway down the fairway.
Yeah, worth noting too that there is out of bounds behind the basket. We saw Paul find it in round 1, and especially with that left to right sloping ground, it is possible for the forehand to kind of fade out and find that out of bounds. But this one coming up just a bit short, a bit low out of the hand for Paul.
Kind of similar mistake to Jesse there from Axel.
Yeah, nobody really throwing a good shot here on hole 2. Nobody in position for birdie, as Whit with another errant shot catches a tree, and he is in danger of taking a big number now on this fairly easy hole. Good scramble for Axel. He'll be able to save a par from there. I suspect we'll see something similar for Jesse. He doesn't have too much in the way on this pitch up.
And it doesn't look like Whit's getting the turn he wanted, and hopefully hangs on by a thread there. Stays safe.
Yeah, that was right on the line. He's still going to have kind of a long comeback putt. Paul's got a long birdie putt here on hole 2. Comes up just a bit low. This is for bogey now for Stephenson, and just a bit off. So there's that big number already for him after just such a great start. Going to be dropping some strokes right after to his card mates.
It did look like Jesse's disc landed in kind of a funny spot. So yeah, it's a short putt, but just really awkward stance.
Yeah, giving that tree a little hug. Taps it in, no problem though.
Yeah, I'm sure that was not what Whit was anticipating heading into this hole. Like you said, it's one of those ones that feels like a straightforward shot, but as you see, happens fast out here in Fox Meadows.
Yeah, letting some of these chase card and third card members catch up a little bit as we head into hole 3, 285-foot par 3, uphill to start, downhill on the second half of the fairway. It is a blind shot. Most players are going to throw some sort of stable mid-range that just kind of crests the hill and glides to the left down to the basket.
And that looks perfect.
Yeah, can't throw it much better than that, Jesse. Just a nice stable mid, puts it on a little hyzer out of the hand, and lets the disc do the work after that. Toughest part of this hole is getting the height right. You have that high floor meeting the low ceiling, so making sure to get the height right is the most important part of this hole. Paul looks like he hit something a little bit early left and is most likely going to have just a pitch up for par.
Got a little sneaky there, but caught up right afterwards. That'll be kind of a tough blind shot for him. We'll have to see if he can actually see the basket for his second shot.
Yeah, scrambling on this hole can be difficult as well, just with that downslope behind the basket, and there is OB at the bottom of that hill that you can find pretty quickly if you're not careful about your distance control coming into this green. Looked like a pretty good scramble shot for Whit. We'll see if it was able to get the right amount of ground play to give him a birdie look.
Axel going to the knee to try to avoid some of those trees, and he'll have a long putt. It'll be a scary downhill putt, though, which we know there's a lot of those over at this course.
Yeah, a lot of slopes on these greens can make you think a little bit. This one from Axel's got to bend it around the tree for maybe 25 feet or so.
Nice. Great par save.
Yeah, had to work for that one, but well done to not drop another stroke. Jesse absolutely parked for his birdie, so he's going to pick up another stroke on Paul. That's the second one he's made up already in just the first 3 holes. Really the only player on the card applying any sort of significant pressure to Krans so far.
Yeah, our lead card kind of struggling a little bit, but it looks like the field is not too far behind. We have some moves getting made by some familiar names on there. Getting a little tighter. Getting a little tighter.
It is indeed, as we head into hole 4, 620-foot par 4. Most players are going to take this line. The drone is flying some sort of overstable flexing backhand to land in the island and then pitching over onto this peninsula green with a nice built-up elevated basket. It's a nice feature.
Unfortunately, Jesse finds the OB there on the left-hand side of that secondary fairway that you mentioned.
Yeah, it's a pretty common mistake. If you just don't turn the disc enough out of your hand, it's going to tend to fade back to the left and into that out-of-bounds area. Paul's is in danger of doing the same thing, and it does. Also, just a tough wind read to make off the tee. You can't really feel what the wind is doing out in the fairway because this tee pad is slightly protected. So, really have to trust your disc and angle control out of your hand.
Unfortunately, looks like Axel made too much adjustment and found the OB on the other side of the fairway. So none of these players really getting in bounds yet.
No, kind of seeing same mistakes, but this is a good adjustment from Whit. Also avoids the one bushy tree in the fairway, which is a nice bonus. So he's going to be in prime position from there to get a birdie. Everybody else looking to scramble for par, probably somewhere in the high 200-foot, maybe right around 300-foot range on these upshots.
Yeah, not an easy upshot. You have the OB around the basket. It is elevated with some wind, so not a piece of cake.
Yeah, these putts will be difficult. This is the kind of backside of the course where the wind tends to be a little more prevalent coming through this valley. So basically, any putts and tee shots are going to be pretty heavily affected by the wind for the next 7 or 8 holes. Jesse's right around that circle's edge range that can be so difficult.
Whit playing this hole perfectly. Should get rewarded with a good birdie there.
Yeah, that'll be good to bounce back for him. Jesse right now looking to save a par from just outside the circle, and that is a really great putt for him.
Good par save from Axel as well.
Yes.
With bouncing back nicely with a birdie. No pars yet today.
No. Exciting round so far for Whit. We'll see if that continues here. Hopefully you can get a little bit of stability at some point. But yeah, all 3 guys going out of bounds off the tee, but 3 great par saves for Paul, Jesse, and Axel to not drop any strokes there as we head into hole 5, 445-foot par 3. Most players are going to go wide backhand, something that swings through this gap the drone is flying through. And you got to get the height right to stick it on this hill. If you throw it too high, that water comes into play very quickly.
You can see that tree just swallows them up. I mean, if you're headed for it, there's pretty much no chance that you're fighting through. It's very dense.
Yeah, this hole too is almost always a right to left wind, which means if your disc turns over, it's not coming back. So want to keep something on hyzer the whole way, just like Jesse does. Gets a nice checkup as well to keep him close. That is such an impressive shot on this hole, playing so difficult.
Paul following a similar line. Another great shot. They're making this hole look much easier than it actually is.
Yeah, it's really hard to get the width right because you want to swing it wide, obviously, to not bring that pond into play. But if you pull it just a tad too wide, that tree comes into play quick and you're just going to find yourself out of bounds. So these guys all hitting the line very well. Axel doing the same thing, checking up just short of the basket. So a couple of birdie putts coming up. But first, Whit's going to have to scramble to save a bogey. Yeah, that's not a bad effort.
Good birdie there from Paul. First one of the round.
Thanks the fans.
So I think that's the most emotion we've seen out of him all this event.
Yep. Some of these guys are much closer than it looked from our catch cam off the tee originally. So tap in birdie for Axel. Jesse's also going to have a pretty short birdie putt from the other side of the basket. It's not an easy place to land a drive on the top of that hill.
No.
you don't see it every day. Usually if you hit the top of that hill, it's going to end up in the pond. So 3 birdies on this hole is not something you see every day. And these guys played it very well. Only 8 birdies on the day. So that just shows you how difficult this hole is.
Good confident bogey save there, rather, from Whit.
Yeah, as we head into hole 6, 290-foot par 3. Just a nice little chip forehand here. Definitely the easiest hole to birdie on the course. Just put something up in the air, let an overstable disc work its way back to the right, should net you some sort of short putt.
Friendly little wall hit there for Jesse, keeping him close and safe. Is OB deep?
Yeah, it's hard. It's usually hard to find that right side out of bounds on this hole just because of, how much room you have out to the left. Players don't usually end up sawing it off, but that was a really fortunate break to catch that little section of wall. Keeps him in bounds. Paul also threw a very nice controlled shot. He's going to have a short birdie putt. Axel finds the wall as well. Wow, what a break.
Like you said, this one really feels like a must-get, playing well under par, easiest one on the course, and all these players are showing you why.
Yep, 4 short birdie putts coming up for our lead card, especially for these guys that have been playing so well all weekend. Should be have their games dialed in enough, have this course dialed in enough to net a short birdie putt on this hole.
Slightly pulled for Axel. Unfortunate miss there for him.
Yeah, that's a tough miss. Just a 15-footer for him. Maybe a little bit of that swirling wind kind of got in his head, and tough one as he's looking to kind of make a push here. Was building some momentum after a great birdie on the last hole.
Check in with our leaderboard here. We see Jesse making a good push. That lead is starting to chip away there at our leader throughout this entire event, but the rest of the field is kind of struggling out here. It could be the wind.
Yeah, hard to say. We'll see if they can pick it up here. As the round continues, taking a look at the monstrous hole 7, 1,225-foot par 5. Most players will probably lay up short of the out of bounds off the tee, looking to pitch into this little bubbled out area on the left side of the fairway, and then over the out of bounds into the green. This is definitely a full 3-shot hole, at least in this field. You're not going to see anybody try to go over to the green in 2. Jesse just going to pitch up his tee shot. No surprises there.
Yeah, this continues to be the hardest hole. It was the hardest hole in round 1. Continues that same momentum, being over a stroke over par. Great layups here so far.
Yeah, the layup, it kind of looks like a mindless shot. I think I mentioned this in our round 1 coverage, but the landing zones do change the type of shot that you're going to throw on your second. Personally, I prefer the left side of the fairway on this hole. Kind of opens up a nice controlled hyzer for your second shot. Some players prefer the right side of the fairway so they can throw a more straight shot for their second. But you kind of have options either way.
Looks like Axel's given this a little bit more juice, trying to get across to that area, which it looks like he does, and he gets a green flag. That's a great shot.
Yeah, that is a bomb. It is probably 450 plus to clear that out of bounds area off the tee. So in some heavy wind, that is really well done for Axel. It's going to make this hole much easier for him, whereas these players now that laid up have a big second shot to get back in position, and Jesse just throws that one a little too high. He's going to find the out of bounds.
This is looking good from Krans. Gets himself right in the middle of the fairway. Still a very demanding shot to play for birdie, though.
Yeah, he's probably in like the 450 to 480 foot range from there. He'll have a decision on whether or not he wants to try to go across and still play for birdie. Whit asking for this to get down, and it does. He's in a similar spot to Paul. I'm guessing these guys will probably both lay up from there and then pitch across on their fourth shots.
So despite this bomb of a drive, you can see how small Cash Cam Dave looks there in the background. And oh my goodness, what a shot. Just checking up into that post's jam corner.
Yeah, it was probably a little closer than he wanted, but it does check up in time. This is a big shot for Whit, looking to play down that right fairway. Has a ton of juice, so it looks like it's probably going to clear. Ending up pin high, that's a really great shot.
Jesse really having to attack after going out of bounds there. Needs to get up and down here to save a par. No, just going. It was such a great shot. It just trickled long and does find that OB there behind the basket.
Yeah,
That's
that almost went
unfortunate.
in. That was
I know.
a crazy shot from there. Definitely in the 480 foot range for him. To carry that out of bounds and end up long is just kind of unlucky, to be honest. Paul's probably in the 400 foot range from here. Down a hill and just comes up short. The one mistake he cannot make on that upshot.
Yeah, so he's going to be stuck without much forward progress for his next shot. And that hangs on for Axel. He'll be looking at a birdie.
Yeah, it's tough to get the distance control right on this upshot with the downhill and usually some swirly wind going on. Paul now looking to get up and down for a bogey. He is on track to do that with a short putt.
So this will be a longer putt for Jesse to try to save his bogey.
Yeah, just a bit off. So nice 3-down start for Jesse is going to slip away. He's going to drop 2 strokes with that double bogey. Axel dropping it in left side for birdie after that great tee shot is going to be rewarded with a 4 and making up multiple strokes on his card members.
Yeah, he's definitely happy with that.
Whit now with a putt for his first par of the round. And he gets it.
Brings Paul back up to even.
Yeah, still got quite a bit of a cushion after this tap in from Jesse. Paul's lead is going to be back to 6 strokes after he started the round at 7. So we've kind of been moving back and forth a little bit, but just like that, the cushion is almost back to where it started as we head into hole 8, a 3. It is a par 3. The PDGA has the distance wrong. It's somewhere in the 430 foot range, quite a ways uphill. This is a tough hole to reach. You're going to see a lot of players do what Axel is doing here and just kind of pitch a forehand around the corner and take their 150 foot upshot just to play for par, because it is just so demanding of a shot that it's kind of not worth going for.
Yeah, it's kind of a complete right angle. And you have this entire wall of trees, OB lining the fairway. Definitely not easy.
Yeah, and it just plays long enough that the birdie is almost out of the question unless you throw a perfect shot. Looks like Paul is going to throw the backhand here, though. Taking the aggressive line. We'll see if he can get that height and angle right.
Yeah, you really have to trust the disc. It looks like this doesn't have quite enough to hold on. Does Heiser out of bounds. Jesse is well going for it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Jesse, I think if he wants to catch Paul, he's got to try to birdie everything the rest of the way. But I'm kind of surprised Paul went for that one. It's just such a risky line to take when you can just kind of opt for the forehand and play it safe. Jesse, a little overturned on his, is going to find that right side out of bounds.
Yep, so our players who just took the safe shot off the tee rewarded with a par here. And some scrambling will have to get done before... Oh my goodness. You know what? Never mind. I couldn't even finish my sentence.
Not even a putt. That's a throw-in. Paul makes it from 100 feet to save the par after finding the out of bounds. Oh my goodness, what a shot. Just drops it in.
That's amazing.
I guess that's why you go for it off the tee, because either way you're going to get a par, right? So might as well.
So it looks like Jesse did not go out at a terrible spot. It was late enough in the fairway that he's in the circle here.
Yeah, right around that 30-foot mark. Looking to save his par as well.
You know, not what I would have thought of a par frame, but we'll take it.
Yeah, I guarantee you nobody else. There are no other cards today that went at it, had two guys go out of bounds, and everyone took par on this hole. That is not something you see every day. As Axel has a short par putt of his own.
We jinxed him. We did
just it. Just a bit off. His short putting just not looking confident right now. Worth noting there were 3 birdies on the day on this hole. I think that's worth a shout out for Nicholas Economos, Samuel Streeter, and Joseph Wegman. As we head into our final hole, the front 9, hole 9, 435-foot par 3, quite a ways downhill. You got OB lining both the left and right sides of this fairway, and this nice little rock, a couple feet behind the basket.
Great rock.
It is a great rock. Some would even call it a boulder, depending on your definition. It's a large rock the size of a small rock, some would say. Whit going to be leading the way here. This one is leaking a little bit left. We'll see if it has enough distance to find the bubble.
Nice. Does get some good ground play, gets him back in bounds there.
Not something you see every day with that tall grass on the left. Tends to kind of grab discs. They don't usually come back out of there, but good fortunate break for him. This one's not looking good for Paul, though.
No, he didn't like it out of his hand. Just too much turn.
Yeah, pump fake for Jesse. Ideally, you'd like to just throw something that stays on hyzer the whole way and kind of rides that right side. This is looking like a nice angle for Jesse. Comes up a bit short, but he'll still have a look.
Yeah, good adjustment for him from round 1. He was having some issues trusting the disc, and it looks like he found his groove there.
Yeah, this one is looking good if it can hold for Axel. Oh, yeah, it's definitely going to hold it.
Great drift. Not a lot of ground play. It'll still be a long putt, but beautiful line.
Yeah, I think Axel went with like a slower disc there. That looked like a mid-range with just how it had that slow drift. I like that play. Just looking to keep something in the middle and play for par. Paul's still not the easiest up and down here, but he is going to make that work, so should have a pretty much secured a bogey.
See, I would call the rock, what he landed by, a rock, and the large formation a boulder. That's how I would define them.
Right.
If you were to ask me,
get on board. If I were, I think I can get on board with the logic there. Whit's going to be next to said boulder for his par putt. Jesse with another chance to take 2 strokes. He's had a couple opportunities today, hasn't been able to connect. It's a big one here. for birdie, and it's just never had a chance.
Bogey from Krans, which I think we've seen more on this front nine than possibly the entire event so far. So wondering if things are getting in his head as he's trying to hold on to the lead with some pressure from the field.
Yeah, he was just played so clean in rounds 1 and 2 off the tee that I think just being a little bit off here and there in this third round, maybe that is the nerves, like you said, Emily. But it seems to be catching up to him. So makes it much more interesting for us to watch as the lead is down to 5, at least on our lead card.
Yeah, not a ton of hot rounds out here so far. Definitely a lot of meat on the bones as we head into the back nine. Take a look at the field here.
Shane McCullen, 4 down through 9 is the hot round so far. We'll see if he can keep that up and make a push for a podium finish. But yeah, still plenty of golf left here. 9 holes left of this year's
but first,
Brewster Ridge Open.
Who won the first Brewster Ridge Open back in 2013? Then it was called the Green Mountain Championship. If you've been following along, you know I'm terrible at trivia, but I hope you're better than I am. Drop your guess in the comments, and we'll find the answer on the back nine. See you there.
Peace.
My guess is Ricky Wysocki.